I'd like to call to order the Marshall City Council meeting for Tuesday, February 19th, 2019. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Karen.
Here.
Councilmember Gates.
Here.
Councilmember McNeil.
Here.
Councilmember Metzger.
Here.
Councilmember Traver.
Here.
Councilmember Underhill.
Here.
Councilmember Wolfersberger.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Excellent. Scott Lowridge was unable to attend the meeting this evening, so we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first we have the approval of agenda. Item 7A, or excuse me, first off is item 6 is public comment on agenda items, followed by item 7, the consent agenda. Item 8, we have presentations and recognitions. Item 10, we have public hearings. Moving to item 12, we have reports and recommendations on special land use number SLU 18.01, Brooksfield at 1243 South Kalamazoo, the 2018 road report, and local streets milling and paving. Items 13A, we have Zoning Board of Appeals appointments, 13B, Local Advisory Committee appointment, and 13C, Construction Board of Appeals appointment. Following that, we have public comment on non-agenda items and council and manager communications. Any questions, comments, additions, or deletions to the agenda this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Add the invoice.
I'm sorry?
Add the South Central invoice, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. To approve the consent agenda, we need to add the Michigan South Central Power Association bill in the amount of $669,654.93 for the city bills totaling $2,650,306.73.
So moved.
Support.
And we'll do a voice vote. I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So 7A is the consent agenda. We'll start with the Northeast Neighborhood Improvement Authority bylaws and 2019 meeting dates. 7B is the City Council minutes for the work session and regular session on Monday, January 21st, 2019. And then the city bills with the MSCPA bill added for a total of $2,650,306.73. Seek a motion to approve the consent
So
agenda.
moved.
Support.
We'll do a voice vote.
Member Gates.
Yes.
Member McNeil.
Yes.
Member Metzger.
Yes.
Member Traver.
Yes.
Member Underhill.
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Mayor Karen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Do we need to go back to public comment?
Yes.
And I'm so sorry. We'll go back to public comment on agenda items. Item 6, anyone with comment on agenda items? All right, seeing none, we will move to item 8A, Police Department awards and recognitions, and Jim's going to help us that this evening.
Good evening, Council. Today, or this evening, it's one of those great opportunities where we get to recognize some officers for work that they did. Officer Goodrich and Officer DeKreiger both are going to receive the Life-Saving Award for heroism that they did upon their duties. I'll give you the information here. On March 10th of 18, Officer DeKreiger was advised by nearby PD units that the fire was being toned out for a heavy smoke witnessed by a caller at Howard's Motel. Officer DeKreiger was first on scene and advised over the radio that heavy smoke was pouring from the office building and that it was on fire. He spoke with another person on scene who advised that a mother and her 2 children lived in the unit which was on fire. Officer DeKreiger entered the building alone, quickly located the female and her 2 children, and helped them escape the burning building in less than a minute. Multiple fire trucks from neighboring agencies arrived to extinguish the flames, and sheriff's deputies transported the family to a nearby motel while Officer DeKreiger remained on scene. Officer DeKreiger's quick, decisive action and disregard for his own safety helped the mother and her 2 children escape a life-threatening situation. Thank you very much, Troy. Officer Goodrich, on Thursday, April 19th of 2018, around 2:55 p.m., Marshall Police and Fire Departments were dispatched to the Family Fare gas station on the corner of West Drive and Michigan Avenue for a shooting victim. When police arrived on scene, they found a male laying in the parking lot with a severe gunshot wound to his left thigh. The responding officer, which is Officer Goodrich, immediately secured the scene and applied a tourniquet on the male to control the bleeding. Marshall Fire and Rescue arrived on scene and continued the medical treatment until Marshall Ambulance arrived. The 44-year-old male victim had stopped at the gas station to gas up his vehicle. While doing so, he opened the back hatch of the vehicle and a duffel bag fell out where the .45 caliber handgun in the bag discharged. When it hit the ground, the projectile struck the male in the thigh, causing severe bleeding. The male was transported to Oakland Hospital, where the male was taken to surgery immediately. Witnesses at the scene corroborated the events described. The 44-year-old male did have a concealed pistol permit to carry the handgun, and the victim did recover. Also talked to ambulance personnel. Had he not applied the tourniquet, he would have bled out. So, officer. You want their picture? Can we go stand up here? Yeah. A little height difference.
Button, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is item 10A, public hearing for the July 1, 2019 to the June 30th, 2025 capital improvement program. We will open this public hearing. Anyone that would like to speak has 5 minutes to do so, and please state your name and address. And John will give us a little rundown on this.
Yes, we're here tonight to ask council, first off, good evening, council.
Good evening, John.
We're asking you to accept and approve the 2019-2025 capital improvement plan. Capital improvement plan basically helps us as administrative staff to allocate our revenues, our resources to our best of our ability. There's a lot of demands. It's a budgeting tool. The CIP includes any capital improvement that's over $5,000 and has a useful life of more than 1 year. The CIP also shows how these projects are going to be funded, whether it be grants, debt issue, internal. They're prioritized. The priority ones are projects that cannot be delayed. They're absolutely mission critical and they have to be done immediately or within the next year. Priority twos are very important and should be implemented as scheduled. Priority threes are projects that we're waiting on how we're going to fund them. They're in the plan as kind of a placemaker, and we'll determine how we're going to fund these projects at a later date. Priority fours are projects that are just not ready for action. They're again a placemaker, and we're just looking at what we're going to do. Can it be combined with other projects, things like that. I do want to point out tonight, you're not approving these projects. You're not approving the budget for these projects. You're approving the plan. We will put the bottom line numbers in the, like wastewater fund, water fund, in our budget, our 10-year budget plan. And if we have a budgeted deficit, first thing we look is our capital outlay. Is there a project that we can delay? there's a budgeted surplus, more than likely all the projects that are listed on the CIP will be budgeted for, and they will be part of the city manager's budget message.
Can you tell us, John, how those projects are added to the CIP?
We have the existing CIP. Before it's distributed to the superintendents and the department heads, we as administrative staff, the directors, sit down and look at what's existing. We'll say that project's not going to ever be done, so we remove it. Then there is a CIP project form that's sent out to every superintendent and every department head. What projects do you want to add to this CIP? And we add them, and administrative staff goes through and says, this isn't a good project, or it's a great project. But basically, anything that is requested by the department heads is in this plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions for John? All right, would anyone like to speak on the capital improvement plan? All right, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. And we'll seek a motion to accept the July 1st, 2019 to the June 30th, 2025 capital improvement plan.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next up, I'm going to open a public hearing for zoning amendment RZ 18.06 to rezone 1243 South Kalamazoo from a I-1 Research and Technical District to a PSP Public Semi-Public Services. I'll open that public hearing. Tricia, could you help us with this one, please?
Sure. We've begun the process of designing the new terminal for the airport, and during the process we discovered that the airport is zoned I-1, Research and Technical, which doesn't really make too much sense. So the master plan does show the airport as PSP, so we think it just kind of got overlooked in the process. Planning Commission had a public hearing. Nobody wished to comment. This is kind of just a house cleaning, clean it up. They went through the rezoning criteria, met the criteria, so we're just asking for the airport to be rezoned to PSP.
So anyone have any questions on this one?
I was curious, is PSP a new zoning? So it doesn't have anything to do with, we haven't made any moves toward form-based code or anything like that?
Well, this is somewhat a form-based code, but it's PSP. I remember when we did that. It's been within the last 10 years that this zoning was established.
Okay.
It was just, I think, an oversight. We've come across some of those little pockets that are that we had forgot about on different things. And again, the zoning ordinance is a moving type document for development.
All right, would anyone else like to speak on the zoning amendment? All right, seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Looking for a motion to rezone 1243 South Kalamazoo from I-1 Research and Technical District to PSP Public Semi-Public Service District.
So moved.
Support.
We'll do a roll call vote on this.
Member McNeil?
Yes.
Member Metzger?
Yes.
Member Traver?
Yes.
Member Underhill?
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger?
Yes.
Mayor Karen?
Yes.
Member Gates?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next we have item 12A, which is special land use, number SLU 18.01, Brooks Field at 1243 South Kalamazoo. And Tricia's going to help us with this one.
So along with the rezoning, part of the PSP district, that airports and heliports require a special land use. So since it's rezoned, to be correct with our own code, we need to apply for a special land use for the airport.
All right, anyone have any questions on the special land use? All right, I would seek a motion to approve the special land use, number SLU 18.01 for Brooks Field.
So moved.
Support.
We'll do a voice vote on that one.
just all those in favor.
Oh, I'm sorry, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have the 2018 road report, and Kristen will help us with that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. Every year, we submit a road report, which is just kind of an overview of the condition of our roads. Our roads are rated at least biannually, I think it's pronounced. Last year, we did not rate roads. A lot of that had to do with the fact that we had staffing level changes all throughout the year, and it just didn't happen. There's a window between spring and winter that you have to do these things. So this year, we will be rating roads, but this report and the program that we use does allow for some typical degradation in roads. So the ratings from 2017 were applied to the roads to say that in that 2 years, they would have logically degraded. I will say that in the road report, that's probably not the case for Marshall's roads. So this report probably shows conditions that are a little bit more, I want to say more worse. It's not proper grammar.
More severe.
More severe, thank you, than what we really will see out in the field. That said, when we have monies to apply to roads, we go out and actually look at the actual conditions of the roads as we're applying these funds to appropriately apply funds. So while this is a good tool, at times there's some glitches in those tools that aren't really reality. I will say that once we do the 2019 numbers, that will be a good comparison between 17 and 19 as to how our roads are degrading. In the end, we are staying at least level, if below level, as far as road conditions with the funds that we have available. There aren't very many funds, as this road report discusses, available for road construction and reconstruction. So we're losing ground as far as our road conditions are concerned, which saddens me because that's kind of what I focus on. But we're doing the best we can. We've been very successful over the four years that I've been here, getting grants to deal with our roads and applying some of the fund balances we have to our roads. And we will continue to do that as long as the finance department will allow me to use as much fund balance as I can within their stated limits. So to that end, I present to you the road report.
Kristen, I have a question. We recently, not real recently, but pretty recently, did the whole Division Street, which is lovely, right? We took it apart, down all the way down, and then redid it. But now it looks like it's got a fair rating. Why is that?
I cannot. Tom, help me. Where's Division Street?
Next one from Madison to the west. Madison's.
We have not done that since in the 4 years I've been here. I can't tell you exactly when that's done.
It's a pretty nice street.
Well, the way these PACER ratings, they have very definitive criteria. When we go out and look at a road, we have to look at the failure that exists out on the road. So if I go out on a road with my staff that are all trained, and everybody in the state is trained by this on the same rating mechanism, if we go out and 25% of that road is alligator crack, which is really small, looks like the back of an alligator, it's a 3, irrespective of what's causing that alligatoring. So some of the numbers, we then, as an engineer, I then go out and say, well, that alligator cracking isn't caused by a structural failure under the road. It's just old pavement that needs to be replaced. So while you may see a 4 on there, when I go out and look at it to do a repair, it may or may not really be a 4 because it's not a structural failure. That is an anomaly with this program, but the idea is that you look at the surface failures you have and apply a number to it. So some may be rated lower than what they look like in the field, but we rate by block. So there could be a block that's a 4 and a block that's a 6 or a block that's a 7.
Okay.
I cannot tell you right off the top of my head when division was done. It was prior to me being here, so it's been at least over 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Couldn't have been much. I mean, it's a fairly new road.
It is, yeah. I can look into that more and let you know. There should be data.
It looks pretty nice to me. I hadn't seen any of what you're talking about. Doesn't mean they don't exist. Maybe I just don't look.
Well, yeah, obviously, you know, as we drive around, that's what we see.
Right.
There are also, I did find some errors in the system, so I'm glad you let me know. I can go look and make sure there's not an error in the system. That's because we did find some glitches this year that needed to be fixed by Michigan Tech. So.
Go ahead.
Just maybe a comment and a question. So first, the comment that this is a really helpful report. I know that we get lots, one of the calls I get most frequently is about frustration with the state of our roads. This report that's available publicly is really helpful to understand where funding sources come from and what we can and cannot do with that funding. So it's really helpful for the public to have access to this. Is it fair for me to take, one of the things I'm taking away from this is that the pace that we're funding, particularly for local roads, is likely not long-term sustainable, is that?
That is correct, yes.
So I guess my question more pointedly then, either to you, Kristen, or John or Tom, is when do we think we'll have a decision in front of us for how we shore this up, or a recommendation for council to consider?
Well, in your reports, there were several different options for assisting with funding. Those are about the only options that are available, whether it be special assessment, millage for streets, those kind of things. Most cities are moving towards special assessment, or either special assessment districts or millages for local streets. The state and their funding, the way the state, at the state level, thinks about funding, they're worried about moving traffic quickly out of residential areas. Their focus is not residential streets. Most cities, about 70% of the streets in a city are residential local streets, and those are funded. I'll tell you, they're about, I did a calculation a long time ago, it was about $6,000 a mile we get in funding for local streets and about 30-some thousand for major streets, so there's a large disparity. And the state will, if they were concerned about how you transfer funding from major to local, will come in and look at you if you're taking all your major money and sending it over to your local street and saying, that can't happen. We are very fortunate that we have a healthy fund balance in the major streets. Once our bridges are done, we'll be able to keep, we've been moving $250,000, $300,000 a year over the local streets, but we're still not ahead of the game. So I'm more than thrilled to talk about options for funding local street work, and we're doing what we can with the money, but more funds will obviously help. There aren't grants. The state doesn't fund grants for local streets. They're not available. It has to be a federal aid eligible road. So those are some restrictions we deal with every day. Not just Marshall, everybody.
So I lived in Jackson for a while, and they did special assessments for streets, and I was surprised when we don't use that funding mechanism to address our streets.
A previous municipality I worked in had actually both special assessment districts and a local street millage, and they'd had it for a good 15, 20 years before I'd been there. And by doing both mechanisms, all they did was have residents pay for driveway approaches and curb and gutter. The pavement was all covered by the local street, but it stretched those funds out. Local homeowners on a typical city lot were paying about $1,500 a year for that, and then we would allow them to pay it out over 10 years. So it was $150 a year they were paying for 10 years. And it's hard to come into a municipality that's never done it before and say all of a sudden you're paying for it, but it does stretch those dollars. And the problem we're starting to see is the mandates from the Federal Highways Administrations for signage, which comes out of those funds, for ADA ramp upgrades come out of those funds. All of those things just start taken away from the actual road surface. And those are federal mandates that we have to meet.
Right.
All right, any other questions on the road report? All right, I would seek a motion to accept the 2018 road report.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, 12C, we have local street milling and paving, and Kristen's going to help us out with that as well.
Thank you. As part of the 5-year plan that's been developed for the street system, and with the available funding, we bid out projects for the 2019 fiscal year, which should be expended before June 30th for local street paving. The bids did come in favorably, so I actually extended one of the road sections to another section of road because it made sense. The numbers were good. We are going to be doing Hill Road, Wooded Lane, and Hill Road Court, all in full extents of those roads. This will be a full-depth mill and repaving project. So in saying that, we slightly under budgeted for what we need to expend, so we're requesting that City Council approve the contracts from Lakeland Asphalt with a contingency, and that just allows us for whatever we find in the field to be able to pay for those without coming back to council. In addition to a budget adjustment of about $44,500 to allow us to extend that section of Hill Road all the way to its terminus. So,
Any questions on that?
I just, in my mind, I think about that area, and I'm just thinking of the low traffic volume, and that's a huge expenditure up there for few houses, and everybody deserves a good road, don't get me wrong, but there's a whole lot. It's just, who do you pick, right?
that's pretty much what it is, and I try to balance where we spend money so that we're doing it in different parts of the city, because we don't want to spend it all in one area, then you get residents over there going, whether it be favoritism or somebody lives in the area. So we've done work in North Drive, we've done work on Green Street, we haven't done any work since I've been here in the 4 years up in that area, and those are some of the
they're
worst.
bad.
Those cul-de-sacs are really, really bad
I know.
shape. And at one point, the joints between the pavement were a good 2-3 inches wide. So it's time, they need to be done. I totally understand that, and I respect
know.
that. It's just,
No.
it's hard to balance.
Okay.
You mentioned extending the road to its terminus, so can you just describe what that?
I had originally budgeted to do Wooded Lane, the entire length of Wooded Lane, and only a portion of Hill Road from its cul-de-sac down to Wooded Lane, and then Hill Road Court, which extends further, it was further south on Hill Road. With the way the bids came in, because it's an early season bid, I was able to go ahead and extend the milling all the way down to East Drive on Hill Road.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about extending the road.
No,
to go
just
somewhere it didn't go.
extending
Okay.
to the end of that road.
Okay,
I was
that
only
makes
doing,
sense.
I was only
Go
doing
right out
half
to
of
the
it, now
highway.
I'm doing all of
Where's
it.
it going to go? Okay. No, thank you.
If I had a map, I could show you very nicely.
Yes.
but I
No, that
don't.
makes sense. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? So I will seek a recommendation to approve the bid and additional work from Lakeland Asphalt of Battle Creek, Michigan for the amount of $241,932.50 with a contingency amount of $23,067.50 for a total of $265,000, and to authorize a budget amendment increasing the budget from account 203-900-970.00 by $44,500.
So moved.
Support.
And we'll do a roll call on that.
Member Metzger?
Yes.
Member Traver?
Yes.
Member Underhill?
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger?
Yes.
Mayor Karen?
Yes.
Member Gates?
Yes.
Member McNeil?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next we have item 13A, which is an appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like you to consider the recommendation to approve the appointment of Jeff Carnes as a full member of the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term expiring March 10th of 2020. Mr. Carnes is currently serving on the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate member. Seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have an appointment for Local Advisory Committee. Consider the recommendation to reappoint Isadora Kazrez to the Local Advisory Committee with a term expiring February 1st of 2022. Seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then the third appointment this evening is for the Construction Board of Appeals. The recommendation is to reappoint Scott Morrison and appoint Eric Dale to the Construction Board of Appeals with terms expiring October 6th of 2020. Seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have public comment on non-agenda items. Anyone that would like to come up and speak has 5 minutes to do so and needs to state their name and address for the record.
Anybody?
All right. Seeing
We'll give them
none,
another 5 minutes. Someone will come up.
are you sure? You stuck through this whole meeting so far. It's been slightly painful.
We'll stare at them for the 5 minutes.
Yes. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to council and manager communications. Member Traver,
I have nothing tonight.
Ryan?
Nothing for the parks, but YPC is having their bowling event on Friday, from 7 to 10. It's $5 a person. Bring your kids. You get lane, shoes, pizza, and pop. It's a
Pretty good
family
deal.
event.
Yes. Member Metzger?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Staff?
I will be sending out some schedules on tours of facilities. Appears that Saturday works best for majority of you, and we'll try and group them together, but not make, try to do it a morning, maybe 2 mornings. I'll talk to the director team tomorrow to try to set up some schedules here, so, again, bring your questions, and staff will be able to hopefully answer any questions when you tour the facilities.
Thank you. Member Wolfersberger?
The NIA board met earlier today, and we did approve their development plan and the tax increment finance plan. So those will be coming to council for the next session, I believe, for adoption. Things are going well as far as getting things organized, and I believe we're hoping to have some feedback from the land bank in the next few weeks, but that's still a process that's coming, so
Excellent.
I don't want to get ahead of it.
Thank you. Member Gates?
I'm ready for spring. That's all I got.
Not tomorrow, you're not.
Member McNeil?
Can't top that. I've got nothing.
All right, the only,
I did forget, congratulations to Councilman Underhill for having a baby earlier,
Yes.
last few days ago.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
Yeah. Congratulations.
congratulations. The only other thing I had, other than that, was coming up on February 28th, next Thursday, is the Marshall Economic Outlook Breakfast. That's being put on by MEDA at 7:30 in the morning until 9:30 at the Marshall United Methodist Church. So we'll have some local speakers there. We'll also have someone from the Federal Reserve and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority to speak on what's going on locally. So if you're able to make that, we would love to have you, and you can RSVP to MEDA downstairs. And other than that, I think we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.